What's up guys, MizzoFrizzo here, and in this Unreal Engine 5 tutorial I'm going to show you how to lock the left hand of your character to his weapon using left hand IK. Now this is built off of the top of my ultimate weapon system tutorial, so if you haven't seen my how to make a weapon system with simulated physics 2.0 tutorial, I highly recommend you check it out because this is built off of the top of that, and we have a variety of different weapon types here, and as you can see the left hand is locked into place on each weapon. Now I have bound something to the L key to switch this on and off, so you can see if I press the L key I'm switching it on and off there just to demonstrate what this is doing, and I will show you how to have some control over whether this system is switched on or off. For example, if I press 0 to switch to my unarmed state, it is off, and then as soon as I pull out a weapon, his left hand is locking into the correct position like so. Now, just before we get started guys, a quick word from my sponsor. As per usual guys, this Unreal Engine 5 tutorial is brought to you by you, my generous subscribers and viewers who have been so supportive over the past 12 months or so. If you find this video to be of any use or value whatsoever, please hit like and subscribe, and if you're so inclined, please do consider making a small donation to the channel via my Patreon. Link is in the description. I do also have some very exciting news for you guys. I have created a Discord. It is called MizzoFrizzo, and the first 150 people to sign up for a membership on my Patreon will receive lifetime access to MizzoFrizzo, even if you immediately cancel your membership. So with a one-time payment of $10, you will be made a permanent legacy member of my Discord. I will send you an invite link via Patreon, and we'll get you onboarded, and you'll be a permanent member of MizzoFrizzo with just one payment of $10. Do jump on this guys if this interests you, because I will not be extending this offer. It will only be offered to the first 150 people who sign up via Patreon for that $10 membership. But without further ado guys, let's jump into this tutorial. Alrighty guys, now first things first, I apologize if I sound a bit different. I am recovering from a cold. And just before we get into the left hand IK stuff, I want to do a couple of admin tasks in our BP third person character. If we open up our get current weapon, you'll see that we've got no inputs here, and actually we're just trying to get this one output, the current weapon. So we can make this function pure by selecting the get current weapon function over here, and then in the details panel we can just check pure. And if we go back out to the event graph here, we'll see that, for example, here where we were running get current weapon, this is pure now, so we don't need to execute it. We can just pull current weapon like so. And the other thing I want to change very quickly is I want to just swap Quinn out for Manny and change the animation blueprint to ABP Manny. And this is just to eliminate any confusion, because obviously, as I said before, ABP Quinn is a child of ABP Manny, so we're making all our changes to ABP Manny. But just for the sake of simplicity, let's use Manny and ABP Manny here. And I'm also going to select the camera boom and change the target arm length to 200. And this is just so we can more clearly see what's going on with our character here, to make it a little bit bigger, a little bit closer. And what I might do is just pick up this weapon, and as you will have noticed, the left hand is not in the correct position. It's not locked to the weapon, but also when we start to move, you see that the hand is sliding around quite a lot. And one of the reasons is obviously this requires left hand IK, but it also has to do with the blend mask that we use in the animation blueprint. So if I just select my mesh and browse to ABP Manny and open this up, and we go back out to our top level of our anim graph, and have a look at this layered blend per bone where we set up the blend mask. Now this was very, very quick and easy to set up, but it has produced some sort of undesirable results with the left hand IK. It doesn't really work. That movement, that jiggling when you run around is still kind of there, and the left hand doesn't lock to the weapon. So we're going to change this from blend mask to branch filter. And if we drop down the layer setup, drop down this index and add a branch filter, we can drop down the index on this branch filter. And then in the bone name, we can put spine underscore 01. We can leave the blend depth as 0, and we can leave mesh space rotation blend and mesh space scale blend checked. Now we can quickly have a look and see if that makes any difference when we are walking around. You can already see there's less movement in the left hand, so that jiggling around that I was referring to, yeah, that was because of that blend mask. So with that out of the way, let's look into setting up left hand IK. And so basically a quick explanation of how this works is you already understand that when we pick up a weapon, we attach that weapon to a socket on our skeletal mesh. So the socket is in the skeleton of the skeletal mesh on the right hand, and the weapon attaches to that. Well, we are then going to attach the left hand to the weapon. So we're going to have a socket on the weapon. So the weapon attaches to the skeleton on the right hand, and then the left hand attaches to the skeleton of the weapon. So we need to create some sockets on the skeletons of these weapons. I'm going to browse to Military Wep Silver and Weapons and find the skeletons of these weapons. So let's just start with the pistol and open up Pistol's A skeleton. And what I'm going to do in here is just right click on the root bone and add a socket. And I'm going to rename this socket, all caps, left hand IK, like so, LHIK. And we're going to make it the same name on every weapon so that we don't have to search for a bunch of different sockets. And I'm just going to place this socket round about where I think it should be. We will adjust this in a moment, but I'm just going to put it about there for now. And now in our BP third person character in the event graph, we are going to need a function that sort of transforms that socket location into bone space on our character, so our animation blueprint can more easily sort of tell where to move that left hand to. So let's create a new function, and we'll call it get left hand IK transform. And in here, what we're going to do is add one output, and it's going to be left hand IK transform of type transform. Make some space here. And what we need is our current weapon, so we can get our current weapon. This nifty little pure function that we've created. And first, let's just check is valid, because we don't want this executing if there's in fact no weapon. And then off of get current weapon, we can get socket transform, and the in socket name is going to be left hand IK, exactly as we named it in our guns skeleton. And here off of this return value, actually we can split this and we can get our mesh, and off of mesh we are going to transform to bone space, and we're going to plug the return value location into the in position and the return value rotation into the in rotation, like so. And the bone name here is going to be the hand underscore R, our right hand. Here off of out position, we can make transform and plug the position into location and the rotation into rotation, and then plug this into our return here and connect the is valid to the return node, like so. It's a very easy to set up function that will now return the left hand IK transform within bone space. So we can compile this now, and we can head on over to our event graph. Sorry, our anim graph in our animation blueprint. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can do this, and I am going to show you how to switch it on and off and add some sort of customizability. But just for practice sake, I am going to do this stuff right here on my pistol anims, where it is then cached to pistol A anims. I'm going to drag this out a little bit. We can actually disconnect this, and I'm going to right click, find a node called 2bone IK. I am also going to find a node called fabric, and these are the two nodes that we need right here. We can plug this in and we'll get these little interim nodes. And then I'm going to drag off the effector transform here and promote this to a variable. And I am also going to duplicate this and right click here and split the struct pin and just plug the effector transform location into the effector location right here. We need to make a couple of changes in the details of these nodes. So if we select the 2bone IK node, up here the IK bone is going to be the left hand, hand underscore L. And under effector, this effector location space can change to bone space. We can check take rotation from effector space, and the effector target is also going to be hand underscore L. And then down here in joint target, this needs to be changed to parent bone space, and the joint target is actually going to be the left upper arm, so upper arm underscore L. And that's all we need to change in here. We also need to select the fabric node, and we need to change the effector target to the right hand, hand underscore R. And effector transform space is going to be bone space, and effector rotation source can be changed to no change. Down here in the solver, we need to change the tip bone to hand underscore L. And the root bone is going to be the left clavicle, clavicle underscore L, like so. Both of this needs to be exactly like so to work. So let's compile now, and basically what we need to do is get this effector transform from our left hand IK. So what we can do is go to the event graph, and I'm going to add a new pin. And off of character here, I am just going to run my get left hand IK transform function. Plug this in like so. And now our animation blueprint will have that effector transform. Doesn't usually this preview gets a bit whack at this moment. It's probably because yes, no, it won't be doing it on the unarmed because we did it, if we go back to the anim graph, we did it in here. So you will only see this be a bit funny if we go to the current weapon enum and change the default value to pistols A. You'll see now he's trying to do the left hand IK. So if we compile this and save it and we hit play, and we go over and pick up a pistol, he's now trying to do the left hand IK, but it's not quite right, as you can see. What I'm going to do is press F8 to eject, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit closer, and we're going to play around with the left hand IK socket, and also the 2bone IK node will we can move this the elbow, the arm out a little bit. So I'm just going to, let's start with moving that elbow. So I'm just going to window my animation blueprint. And this preview here is actually what will be super useful as well. And what we need to do is click on the 2-bone IK node here, and then you'll see these two transform gizmos. One is the effector. It should be the one that's selected by default, and that's set here by this variable that we set in the event graph. But here, this gizmo right here is the joint target location, and this is what's going to control sort of where his elbow sits. So if we move this out a little bit, and maybe down, you'll see that that's a much more natural position. So we can hit compile now, and you'll see that reflected in the pie over here. And now we also just need to move that left hand IK socket in the pistol. So I'm going to grab my pistol's A skeleton here, and I'm also going to dock it in this window here so that we can see the pie. And then if we move this left hand IK, it should move his hand. It's not moving his hand. Why is that? Apologies, guys. I have forgotten to. I'm just going to press escape and exit the pie. It's not letting me. Why is it not exiting? There we go. I forgot to set the effector transform here. So when we get the left hand IK transform, we need to set the effector transform off of that. My mistake. My brain is still a little bit muddled from being sick. We should get there in the end. So now if I hit play and I grab a pistol, I can press F8 to eject to get a little bit closer. And I'm going to grab my pistol's A skeleton here and undock this so that we can fiddle with this location right here. And you can see when I move this, it's moving his hand. Now, obviously, these animations aren't perfect. And by the way, the left-hand IK is not perfect either. It is, it's tricky to get it to be exact. You can see there's a little bit of movement relative to the pistol here, but this is a pretty good left-hand IK. It's going to work quite well. And I might drop that elbow down a little bit as well. So I'll go back to my ABP event graph, select the 2-bone IK, and this transform here, the joint target location. Might drop that down a little bit. Hit compile. That looks a little bit more natural. So that's it for the pistol. Now, it's a little bit, this joint target location can be a little bit trickier for longer guns. So now to set up left-hand IK on one of the longer guns, all we literally have to do is find the skeleton and add that left-hand IK socket. So we can go to Assault Rifle A skeleton, open this up, right-click on the root bone, add a socket, rename it, LHIK, all caps, and then put this more or less in the right position. And now I'm going to dock this over here, hit play, and go and grab an assault rifle. And the left hand IK should be working. So you can see his hand is following the weapon there. We can fiddle with the left hand IK socket position. Why is that not reflecting? There's some... again, another mistake. I'm very sorry about this, guys. Like I said, my brain is muddled from being sick. This is only working for the pistol right here because that's where these nodes are. So I need to also do this on our assault rifle anims. Make a little bit of space here. And I'm just going to duplicate this here. Now this is not the cleanest way of doing this. I am going to work through a couple of ways of cleaning this up with you. But this for now gives us individual control over this joint target location on this longer weapon. And this is kind of what we need. We need to be able to do this for each weapon, because sometimes if the left hand is extending too far out, the elbow kind of locks in straight, and you can kind of see this happening here. You can see this jump that's occurring here, and obviously this doesn't look any good, so we need to find a way of eliminating that. Here we can change the effector, the current weapon enum default to assault rifle, and now he's doing the assault rifle pose, and we need to change the actual IK position of the, here we go. So open up our assault rifle skeleton and move this left hand IK socket, and that'll do right there for now. I really do want his thumb touching there. There we go. And let's have a look at the arm and see if it's jumping around. It's not jumping around like it was before, but sometimes it will, especially if the left arm is extended way out too long. It kind of locks into place. It locks in and out of place. And what you might want to do to sort of reduce that is just alter this animation so that his left hand doesn't have to reach out as far. So if this were a really long weapon, what I might do is go into my assault rifle anims and find this animation and browse to it. Open this up. This animation, and I will also change the preview asset. So clear that pistol and add preview asset assault rifle A. And I will also change the preview mesh to SKM many and apply to asset. So I might want to just bring the weapon closer to his body so the left hand doesn't have to reach out as far. And what I might do is just pause this, take it to the first frame, and go to the the right arm, and turn this onto global space. And I might bring this up, bring the upper arm down, and then also bring the hand down as well. And now I've just brought that weapon slightly closer to his body. I can select all the skeleton tree and keyframe it. And now you'll be able to see the left hand IK at work here, because although the left hand is sticking now further forward on the weapon, the left hand IK should sort that out for us, and it should be in the same position that it was. And it is. And the hand isn't jumping around, and it looks quite nice. Cool. Let's do this for the shotgun now, and I'm going to show you something pretty nifty about setting this up for the shotgun. What we can do is, I'm not going to forget it this time, I'm going to duplicate these nodes for our shotgun animations. Uno momento por favor. Plug these in and find our shotgun skeleton. Shotgun A skeleton. Now what we can do here, because obviously we want the left hand to operate the pump action. So what we can do is find that bone, which I believe is the... Which bone is it? It might be the slide bone. No? It's not the clip bone. Don't tell me it's a clip bone. Sorry, I've just undid that change and it froze for a second. It is the clip bone. So what we can do is, when I press Ctrl Z, it's freezing up and taking a moment. We can right click on the clip bone and add a socket. So this socket will be parented to the clip bone. Whoops. Put this more or less where I think it should go. And let's undock this. Whoops. Press play, grab a shotgun. And I'm just going to press F8 to eject, get a little bit closer, and fiddle with this left hand IK position. And that will do for now. You can see it's jumping around a little bit there, so might need to play with the joint target location or the animation to sort that out. But if I fire this weapon now, whoops, I've ejected, F8, you'll see that when he reloads, the left hand is following that pump, like so. Nice. Now, obviously, I can fire as fast as I want, so this is not ideal. You would like to set up some controls there, and we might do that in a future tutorial where we set up controls as, you know, to slow down the rate of fire until that animation is completed. Let's see if we can fix that left arm jittering right now. So I might just go straight to the animation first and open up this state machine and browse to my shotgun animation and open it up. Find the right hand and remove this asset and add my shotgun asset. And then grab the lower arm, make sure it's on global space and not object space. And I'm going to bring this up, bring the upper arm down, and the right hand down. And just make that a little bit closer. Now you can see his arm is kind of almost fully extended there, and this could be part of the problem. So what I might also do is grab the left arm and bring it down, and the lower arm up. And I might also just play with this left hand a little bit to make it a little bit more natural. Oops. Keyframe all of that. And let's see if that has helped. It has definitely helped. But obviously this joint target location is not right for this weapon. So I can press F8 to eject, get a better view, and I'm going to undock the animation blueprint. I need to navigate back out to the anim graph. Select the 2-bone IK. And this might still be playing the default assault rifle A, so I might just change this to shotgun. And now if I select here, so it does look quite odd over here because this preview does not have the skeleton of the weapon to attach the left hand to. But if I move that joint target location and then hit compile, it should reflect over here, like so. And you can see it is still jumping around a little bit. So it is sometimes just a case of fiddling with this joint target location to get it somewhere, you know, where it looks good. Because, you know, you can also set the numbers down here on this node. But that looks pretty good now. Nice. Let's have a look at cleaning up this graph and giving you some control over whether this left-hand IK stuff is actually in effect or not. Because obviously, like, you could play a montage on this and the montage would play fine. His left hand would not be stuck there. But, you know, what if you wanted to throw a grenade with your left hand or something, and you wanted his left hand to come off and do something else? So let's have a look at setting up some more control and also tidying this graph up. Now, we've got these joint target locations now, and let's have a look. These two are the same. This one's a little bit different. What if we promote the shotgun joint target location to a variable? Promote that to a variable, and I'm going to call it shotgun joint target location. And if I compile, the default value should be what was entered into these boxes right here. And I'm actually going to duplicate this just as a test. I'm going to try this same joint target location for these other weapons and see how it looks before I go off and try to set up something that makes a different joint target location for every weapon. I just want to check that there's none of that jumping back and forth going on here. Check for the assault rifle as well. And it all looks pretty good. So I'm actually not going to set up a different joint target location for each weapon. It's really not necessary in my case, and it shouldn't be in yours either. You just may need to fiddle with this joint target location a little bit, and I might just rename that to just joint target location, like so. And I'm not going to do my IK here. I'm actually going to do it in front of weapon enums right here, so I can just apply it to all my weapons. So I can actually just delete most of this and plug these back in. And I'm going to disconnect these and bring this stuff down here. And I can plug this in here and hit compile. And I'm actually going to change my current weapon enum default value back to unarmed. And you'll see he's doing some pretty funky stuff here. He's trying to do left hand IK. It's basically going to where his right hand is. But it'll do this even when you're unarmed. It will look fine once you pick up a weapon, and it will go to the corresponding left hand IK socket on each weapon. But if I press 0 here to switch back to unarmed, you'll see he's doing some really funky stuff. So we need to be able to switch this off whenever we want. And how we're going to do that is with a boolean called should left hand IK, for lack of a better name. So we can create a new variable in our animation blueprint, and I'm just going to call it should left hand IK question mark, and it's going to be a boolean. And I might we might set it off of our character blueprint so that that's where we'll have the control. We'll set this off of, you know, a similar variable within our character blueprint. But just before we do that, we're going to set it up here. And what we're going to do is basically disconnect this here. We're going to duplicate our weapon enums cache. And we're going to do a blend by bool, blend poses by bool. The active value is going to be our should left hand IK. This is going to plug in here. And the cache with the IK stuff in front of it is going to plug into the true pose. And the false pose is just going to be our enums, like so. Nice. And now we just need a way of sort of switching this on and off. So I'm going to go to my third person character and the event graph, and we might put this in a function. I'm not going to go into, like, sort of personalized ways, super personalized ways of turning this on and off. It's really up to you. I'm just going to show you how you can have control over it. So I'm going to also create a variable in here called should left hand IK question mark of type boolean in my characters blueprint. And then in the animation blueprint, what I can do is go to the event graph, and where am I going to do this? I might just drag off of character right here and get should left hand IK. And I'm going to set should left hand IK in the animation blueprint based off of should left hand IK in the characters blueprint, like so. So now whenever we change this inside the characters blueprint, it will change whether the left hand IK is going to work in the animation blueprint. So, you could just, for example, find on the keyboard the L key and put this on a flip-flop and set should left hand IK. Just going to have a look. What's the default? The default is off. So let's make this on and then back to off again. And now if we hit play and I press L, you see he's doing that funky stuff. I can switch it on and off for any situation I like. So you can see his hand is shifting there, just back into the standard animation. This one should be more profound because it was further forward, if you remember, when we looked at the animation. So that is me switching the left-hand IK on and off. And, you could put this in a function. Like, for example, you could put a function in your third-person character called should left-hand IK that does a bunch of checks. And, you could run it on update animation in your animation blueprint, much like we're running get left hand IK transform here. You could run, should left hand IK right after that from the characters in the character blueprint, and have that run a bunch of checks. Or you could manually, in your code, whenever you're doing certain things, you could switch it on and off. Such as, I'm just going to get rid of this, and let's set should left hand IK to false when we switch to unarmed, like so. And when we switch to any of the other weapons, let's set it as true. So this will just take me a moment. I'm just going to duplicate this node a few times. And set left hand IK as true if we switch to any of the other weapons. And false when we switch to our unarmed. And just like that, it's false by default. So he hasn't got a weapon at the start. He hasn't got left hand IK. Left hand IK should be working for each gun, and it isn't. What's going on? Setting it here. Setting should left hand IK. And it's false by default. When we pick a weapon up, it's not changing it. So if we spawn a weapon as well, we would want to set it as true here as well. Sorry about that. If I switched weapons, it would have switched it on. But that should be all we need to do to sort of set up this basic should left hand IK functionality. It's off by default. Pick a weapon up, and that is definitely on this time. We can check with the shotgun, like so. That is definitely working. And if we press 0, he is not doing the left hand IK, because you can see he's not doing that funky stuff. Now, he is kind of doing it a little bit it's jankying up the animation because his left hand is like locking to the right hand. So we might actually want to do that at on the notify of the animation instead of right at the start here. So let's just move this node to not on the notify. Let's do it on completion, like so. So I'm just going to grab, actually just going to delete this node from each of these. Uno momento, por favor. And then I'm going to set this as true just on completed of this animation montage here. And that should remove some jank. It's a little bit less jankier than before, but these animations are not perfect. You know, we basically just retargeted them and fiddled with them for like 2 minutes. I think that actually looks pretty good. You might just want to change what the left hand does, you know, during that animation. Oh, it needs to be, because it's actually on the entire time until we're changing, and you can see there when we change to unarmed, it's not super clean. So we are kind of done here, guys, but I do just want to make this a little bit cleaner by changing it to false at the beginning when we change to unarmed. And then we actually need to, if we're switching between these weapons, we need it to be false, sort of. Let's have a look at what's happening here. This might actually be a little bit trickier than I initially thought, because we might need to use a delay or something. Because left hand IK is on the entire time, I think. It wouldn't be switching off. It's just making sure that it switches on. And it's only switching on, yeah, you see that shift when I've been unarmed. You can see his left hand shift at the last second into the right position. Yeah. And that does look a little bit odd. I wonder if on the notify would be better, but I don't think it's going to be much better, to be honest. And you would also need to switch it off sort of at the start. So I'm going to switch should left hand IK off at the very start here. And then have it switch on at the notify, and let's see how that looks. It is making his left hand sort of move quite a bit. But anyway, you get the idea. You know now how to have control over whether the left hand IK is on or off. And that pretty much wraps it up for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please, if this video has been of any use or value to you whatsoever, please hit like and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one.